Let's talk about when the axe falls. Not when things are falling apart, but when everything seems perfect. Because when everything is going right, that's when the system feels its most vulnerable. Imagine this, the best quarter in company history. Record stock price, the champagne still fizzing from the all-hands celebration. But then the email hits. A strategic realignment. A reduction in force to sharpen our focus. And the worst part? The names on that list, the very people who made the celebration possible. It makes no sense, right? You fire people when you're losing. You tighten belts when times are tough, except you don't. Not if you're the system. You fire people when you're winning too much. This isn't about performance, it's about timing. The system is timing its surgery, scheduling your major internal operation for the one moment you're healthy enough to survive it. First, check the weather. If your company is flying high, look for these clouds. 1, the language shifts from "look what we built" to "we must guard against complacency." The enemy is no longer the competitor, it's the culture that got you here. 2, money gets weird. Budgets for crazy new ideas get cut. Budgets for security, compliance, and operational excellence balloon. 3, they run a fire drill, but there's no fire. A company-wide audit on something like data governance or ethical AI. It's not a response, it's a reconnaissance mission. They're mapping the interior, looking for weak walls. This isn't a hiccup. This is the system using the pure liquid confidence of its own success as an anesthetic. It's the only time it can operate on itself without screaming. Here's the cold logic. A peak isn't just about money or prestige. It's about power surplus. It's the moment the system has maximum slack, maximum credibility, and maximum ability to absorb shock. So, what does a rational system do with a surplus? It spends it on long-term maintenance. It removes the parts that might fail later. Phase 1, your trophy becomes your blueprint, and that's when you realize it's not just about success anymore. In the climb, your success made you visible. At the peak, your success makes you legible. The system can finally see you clearly, not just what you do, but how you're wired into everything. You're not a star employee anymore. You're a node on a network diagram. And at the peak, management gets out the red pen. They look for single points of failure. They look for clusters that have become too tight, too independent. That brilliant, tight-knit team you built. On the new diagram, it might be labeled potential insurgency. Your achievements didn't make you safe. They gave the architects a perfect map of where to put the new walls. Here's your clue. When HR stops asking, "What did you accomplish?" and starts asking, "Who reports through you? How do they make decisions?" you're not just being reviewed, you're being assessed for elimination. Phase 2. Your indispensability isn't a badge of honor, it's your expiration date. The system relied on you to get to the top. Now, that reliance is recalculated as the system's greatest vulnerability. So, it uses its peak profits to solve you. It's like a hedge fund buying insurance. Wall Street banks do this all the time. After a monster year, they'll suddenly rotate the heads of the most profitable trading desks. It's not because the desks are failing, it's to prove a point. This machine runs on process, not people. That bonus you just received, it's not a reward, it's the severance package for the version of you they've already decided to retire in the next model year. You were the key to the kingdom. Now the kingdom is hiring locksmiths to make copies because a single key is a security risk. Phase 3. The victory party is just the cover. The real shots are happening in silence. This is the masterstroke. The purge happens during the celebration because no one is listening for footsteps. Everyone is drunk on success. Morale is high. Criticism seems like poor taste. It's the perfect psychological cover. A major European conglomerate buys a rival, its stock soars, and within months, the difficult legacy executives, the ones who built the original company, are offered early retirement. The narrative of exciting integration drowns out the sound of careers being dismantled. You're not being taken out during a battle. No, you're being retired during the victory parade when the band's too loud and no one dares to ask why the music stopped. Let's be clear, this isn't about you. You're not a person in this equation. You're a risk category. Over-concentration of influence. Cultural misalignment, legacy architecture, the fact that your peak and the system's risk assessment window happen to overlap is just bad timing for you and clean timing for them. So if you're at the summit and you feel a cold breeze, what do? Stop acting like a star. Start acting like a manager. Document your processes. Train your replacement. Make yourself look like a replicable system, not a unique talent. Volunteer for the audit. Don't hide. Become the source of all the information. If you control the map, you can make sure you're not marked as the treasure to be buried. Talk about your own redundancy. Seriously. In meetings, casually mention how your role could be automated or distributed. It sounds crazy, but it reframes you from problem to be removed to strategist who sees the bigger picture. Forget the fairy tales. The ungrateful boss story? They're not ungrateful. They're paying you a fortune to leave. That's the opposite of ungrateful. It's a transaction. The paranoid leader story? It's not paranoia. It's preventive calculus. They're not afraid of you now. They're running a simulation where you're a liability in a future they can't control. The restructuring for growth story, it's restructuring for stability. Growth is the excuse. Control is the goal. Your choices are all bad. You can try to become part of the new system. Cost, you have to kill the old version of yourself. You can try to cash out at the top. Cost, you need the timing of a bomb disposal expert. Or you can try to wire yourself so deeply into the core that removing you would cause a blackout. Cost, you become a permanent resident of a prison you built. Staying costs, leaving costs. The only thing more expensive is believing you're still at a party when the cleaning crew has arrived. You don't have to decide tonight. Just understand the design. The purge at the peak isn't a sign of failure. It's the system's way of demonstrating its resilience, its ability to survive the very wounds it delivers. It's proving to itself that it can self-correct even at the height of success. But this reveals the real sickness. A system that's brilliant at cutting out its own tissue is often completely inept at changing its own DNA. It can remove the player, but it can't change the game. Which leads to the ultimate frustrating question. Why do attempts to truly change the rules almost always blow up? Next time. Why every ambitious reform turns into a funeral for the person who suggested it. For now, just sit with this. When a company uses its highest profits to fund its quietest layoffs, it's not planning for the next year. It's writing a will.